Now, once again, why did your engine not maintain its efficiency when you pushed it from 50 to 60 to 70, 80? Because it was fixed size, right? That's what economists say. Economists say there are a number of factors of production, land, labor, capital, and if your steel mill is of a fixed size in the short run, you can add more labor, but you can't add more machines. Does everybody understand? And so if you try to push more input through that mill, more iron ore, more coal, more limestone, right? You try to push all that stuff through the mill, you can get more product out this week, but not necessarily as efficiently as before. Does everybody understand? And so, for economists, we're dealing with what we call here what economists call diminishing marginal profit. But we don't have to think about it in fancy terms. All we have to say is that efficiency declined, productivity declined, and we don't have to talk about in economist terms like diminishing returns. But remember, you always run into diminishing returns if one of your factors is fixed, like that engine. And so if you think of the steel mill as a giant engine, even the economy is a giant engine, if you're dealing with a short period of time where you can't increase its size, you try to force more inputs through, it gets less efficient. Back to our story. So now, you're getting more output of steel. Does it take more or fewer hours to produce each ton of steel? Or let me put it the other way around. For each hour, do you get more or less tons of steel? For each hour, do you get more or less tons of steel if you've pushed your mill to the max and you're getting more steel each week? The fact that you've added more workers proportionally than your output of steel has increased, what's happened to the amount of steel you obtain per hour? Has it increased or fallen? It's definitely fallen. You get fewer tons of steel per hour. But what's another way to put that? Does it take more or fewer hours to produce a ton of steel?
More hours.
More hours to produce a ton of steel. Everybody with me? And therefore, what's happened to the cost of producing a ton of steel? Risen. Engineering problem, even if there's no increase in the wage rate. Everybody with me? Now, stay tuned. Suppose we take a year like (1973) or 1978. Tell me by looking at capacity utilization if the economy was booming or not. In other words, was the capacity utilization high in 73.4 and 78.9, or was it down in the dumps? It was hot. The economy was red hot. Everybody see that? Now, take a look at labor productivity. The change in 1973 or 4, 1978-9, where was productivity heading? Or doing well or doing not well in 73.4 and 78.9? 78.9 is the most dramatic. Which way was the change in output per hour heading?
Down.
Does everybody see that? We pushed the economy to the max. Efficiency, terrible. Everybody with me? Everybody understands, right? In other words, once again, does it cost more or less to produce that ton of steel if we push the mill to the maximum? More. Now, if I go to unit labor costs, which is the cost of producing a ton of steel, does everybody get it? It's the cost of producing a ton of steel. What was happening to unit labor costs in 1973, 4, 1978, 9, going north or south? Way north. Everybody see that? And so when economists looked at the old economy, what did they say? You push the economy to the max, costs go way up, horrible inflation. Costs go way up, squeeze on profit margins, right?
Yep.
Everything goes bad. Does everybody understand? That was the old way. Now, the new economy, what they said, don't worry, in the new economy, what we've been doing is we've been adding so much new plant and equipment that we've been growing the size of the engine faster than you've been depressing the accelerator. Everybody understand? It's as if you're riding in a car and all of a sudden your Toyota has turned into a Lamborghini. Everybody understand? So now you've got plenty of we used to call them cubic inches, but I guess now they're liters, right? Doesn't sound as good. You know, you've got plenty of capacity to roar. Everybody understand? And so the argument of the new economy, folks, was you weren't going to run into the problem of diminishing returns, what the economists call diminishing returns, because we're going to grow the economy's capacity so fast that no matter how hard you push it, we're going to have more room to grow. In other words, we're not going to run into the engineering problem. And if you look at the early 90s, what was happening to unit labor costs?
It was down.
Were they heading north or south?
South.
Positively depressed. Everybody see it? And now, so I don't want to hop around too much. Nah, I'll hop around. What? After all, it's my party. And so, because the unit labor costs headed south, let me just stand here for a minute and move my cursor. What was going on with the ratio of price to cost? Because costs were going south, what was happening to our profit margins?
Increase.
Does everybody get it?
Yep.
So let me go back to the costs. Am I going too fast? Everybody with me? So the unit labor costs in the early 90s, mid-90s were heading south. Everybody with me? Let me just take a breath. Are there any questions? Everybody got it?